There is an intense global race happening right now to see who can produce the most advanced silicon chips, because these tiny components have become the most valuable resource on the planet. These components are responsible for powering the high-end GPUs driving the artificial intelligence revolution and the complex systems inside autonomous vehicles. And they are equally essential for the vast array of modern smart devices like the machine you are using to watch this video right now. At the very heart of this industry sits the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, or TSMC, a single company that produces roughly 60% of the world's chips and over 90% of the most advanced processors, acting as the chokehold of global innovation. So now the question is, what is silicon? And why does this specific material dominate nearly all semiconductor production? It essentially comes down to a unique chemical personality known as semiconductivity. Unlike a metal wire that always conducts electricity, or a piece of rubber that always blocks it, silicon sits comfortably in the middle, meaning it can be controlled to switch between the two states to act as the perfect on-off switch for digital logic. It also helps that silicon is the second most abundant element on Earth, found in common sand, which ensures that our supply is virtually limitless. But perhaps most importantly, it has the ability to form a stable, high-quality insulating oxide layer when heated, a chemical trait that makes it the only reliable canvas we have for manufacturing advanced chips. The fabrication process starts with the raw material, which is usually silica sand, but this natural substance is full of impurities that would instantly ruin a delicate electronic circuit. To achieve the necessary quality, we have to refine this metallurgical-grade silicon through a series of intense chemical treatments known as the Siemens process, where we distill it into a volatile gas and then deposit it back onto superheated rods to create electronic-grade polysilicon. This resulting material is purified to an almost theoretical limit, often described as 9 nines purity, which means that for every billion silicon atoms, there is less than one single atom of anything else. However, purity alone is not enough because the atoms in the silicon are still arranged in a messy, random structure, and electricity requires a perfectly ordered path to flow efficiently. We solve this by melting the silicon chunks down in a quartz crucible at temperatures exceeding 1400 degrees Celsius, and then carefully dipping a perfect seed crystal into the molten liquid. By slowly pulling the seed upwards while rotating it, we encourage the molten silicon to solidify in perfect alignment with the seed, growing a massive cylindrical ingot that consists of one continuous crystal lattice. When this heavy crystal ingot is grown, it is trimmed to the correct diameter and then sliced into thin discs using a precision wire saw embedded with diamond dust. These raw slices are then ground, etched, and polished using a technique called chemical mechanical planarization until they are flawlessly smooth and flat. What we are left with is a mirror-like wafer, usually 300 millimeters wide, which serves as the pristine atomic-level foundation upon which we will build billions of tiny transistors. Now that we have our polished silicon canvas, we enter the most critical stage of manufacturing known as front-end-of-line processing, where we actually construct the billions of microscopic transistors that act as the processing power of the chip. This construction takes place inside the clean room, where the wafer travels between massive tools to undergo a continuous cycle of 4 distinct steps. We start by depositing incredibly thin films of material, which are then covered by a temporary stencil using the light-based process of lithography. Once a pattern is defined, we etch away the exposed areas to carve the physical structure, and finally, we use doping to embed ions directly into the crystal to modify its conductivity. This entire loop is repeated dozens of times, slowly stacking these microscopic layers to build a complex 3-dimensional architecture. The most technologically demanding of these steps is lithography, where we coat the wafer in a light-sensitive chemical and use a massive machine to project the chip's blueprints onto the silicon using invisible extreme ultraviolet light. Once this specific pattern is printed, we use reactive plasma to chemically etch away the unwanted material, carving out tall vertical fins of silicon that allow these modern FinFET transistors to control the flow of electricity with far greater efficiency than the flat designs of the past. By the end of this stage, the wafer is covered in a dense forest of functioning switches. but they are still isolated islands that are waiting to be wired together. With the transistors finished, we face a new problem. There are currently just billions of isolated switches that cannot talk to one another. To fix this, we enter the back-end of line process, where we construct a web of copper wiring that sits directly on top of the silicon to link everything together. You can think of the chip's final architecture like a massive skyscraper, where the transistors are the foundation and the metal interconnects are the elevators and hallways that allow signals to travel between them. We built this network using a technique called the dual Damascene process, where we etch deep trenches into an insulating glass and then electroplate them full of copper to create solid metal pathways. This part of the chip is critical for performance because as these wires get thinner, they naturally resist the flow of electricity. So we must surround them with advanced low-density materials to ensure the signals can move fast enough to keep up with the massive processing power churning below. Once the coping wiring is complete, the wafer leaves the clean room for the final phase of manufacturing, where we must determine which of these chips actually work. We perform a rigorous electrical test called a wafer sort, where microscopic needles physically probe every single chip to identify defects. Because at this scale, even a speck of dust can render a processor useless, and we need to discard the bad ones before spending any more money on them. The functional dies are then physically sawed apart using a precision diamond blade, transforming the single wafer into hundreds of individual fragile squares of silicon that are ready to be encased in the familiar black packaging that protects them from the outside world. This final package is the result of what is arguably the most complex and expensive manufacturing process in human history, an endeavor so difficult that a single state-of-the-art factory now costs nearly $20 billion to build. We are reaching a point where the transistors are becoming so small that we are physically running out of atoms to manipulate, which means the exponential growth we have come to expect from Moore's law is finally slowing down as it collides with the limits of the material world.